You're listening to the Casting for Fun podcast, the show that talks about entertainment, sports, music, and inspirational stories for all to enjoy. We're glad you could join us today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now, here is your host, Albert Pineda.
Welcome, everybody, to the Casting for Fun podcast. I am your host, Albert Pineda, and for this week's episode, I'm going to be doing a Friends episode, talking about the hit NBC sitcom Friends, with my wonderful wife, Allison, who is the biggest Friends fan that I know. She absolutely loves the show, and we have a lot of fun talking about it. I mean, we got to binge watch it together after we got married. I had never actually seen, I had seen maybe one or two episodes during its initial run, but never actually sat down and watched the entire series, all 10 seasons. And I got to do that with Allison, and we had so much fun doing that. So we're going to talk about Friends, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast. I do want to make a quick correction. Whenever it comes to sports statistics, I always want to make sure I'm getting my facts straight because I love sports so much. So I making sure I don't make mistakes. I had erroneously declared that Super Bowl 30 was the Super Bowl that Steve Young and the 49ers had won. I was mistaken. It was actually Super Bowl 29 the year before in 1995, not 96. And it comes up in the conversation because Friends aired their Super Bowl episode after Super Bowl 30, which is my favorite episode of Friends. So enjoy our conversation with talking about the show Friends. I think it's going to be really entertaining and fun, especially if you love the show and if you love Allison. Okay. Welcome, everyone, to the Casting for Fun podcast. I am your host, Albert Pineda, and joining me on this week's episode is my wonderful wife, Allison. Allison, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Hi.
Welcome back to the show. This is your fifth time, so you're my most frequent collaborator, tied only with Nick. Nick's also done 5 episodes, too.
Oh, I have to beat Nick. We have to do a 6th one. Hi, Nick.
We definitely will. We have so many fun things planned for the future. And thank you again for coming on, because I know I promised you a fun episode after our heart-wrenching but very inspiring trilogy of special episodes, right?
Right, the trilogy.
So we're going to be talking about a top subject that I know you know extremely well, and I'm sure you're very excited about talking about, which is NBC hit comedy Friends.
Woo-woo!
Which has been off the air for almost 20 years, which is kind of
crazy.
But
let's not talk about that.
Okay, sorry, let's not talk about that. Actually, we'll be discussing about like staying frozen in time as part of one of the facts about the show. So it's kind of interesting. For previous episodes, I had done an episode maybe kind of like along the lines of something that just recently came out. Like we did the Super Bowl episode the night of the Super Bowl. Last week, I talked about Stranger Things with our good friends, Kimmy and Nathan Cross, because it just aired on Netflix.
That was a good episode.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did.
Friends, it's always popular, right? It's doing massive numbers on syndication. And then there was a huge deal that HBO Max did to secure it away from Netflix. So at any stage or time, even if it's not on like the public mindset, like people are always talking about Friends, right?
Yeah, it's the best.
So Friends is kind of an interesting scenario, has an interesting scenario with our marriage. Allison grew up a huge fan since the show started, right?
Yeah, I don't ever remember not watching Friends.
And when we got married, it didn't really come up, but we binge watch shows all the time. There's so many shows that we've watched together as a couple. And she had hinted or indicated, hey, we should watch Friends, but she also didn't want to because she was afraid that I wasn't going to like it and that it might like ruin our marriage.
Well, just that if you didn't like the show as much as you should, that could be a big wedge for me. How silly is that? But it's true. I didn't want you to destroy Friends for me.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's what's on Parks and Recreation, which is a show that we binge watched together. I don't think you would have initially have liked, but it turns out you did. Yeah. Tom Haverford, the character played by Aziz Ansari, he calls it an oh no. Like, you know, if your boo, as he calls it, like doesn't like something that you like, it could ruin the relationship. And I guess, yeah, you're my boo. And it's kind of interesting and funny that because, again, Friends was such a huge cultural phenomenon during its heyday, during the mid 90s to the mid 2000s, that it was almost kind of strange and weird to find someone who wasn't watching it, considering that it was doing like, I don't know, like 20, 25 million views every single episode. And I told Allison, yeah, I'd only watched a handful, maybe like 2 or 3 episodes total during its initial run. So we binge watched together and it was really fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So Tonight we're going to be talking about Friends, just because, again, like I said, there's no particular reason why, just for fun, because this podcast is for fun. And anytime that I can just sit down with my wife and just talk about fun things, we do this often. But it's really cool that we have the opportunity to record it, right?
That's right. And you make it sound like, well, we should or shouldn't, like, this is no big deal. No, we need to record a podcast about Friends. Like, this is important.
Okay, yeah. So this is a no for Allison.
This is a no for your boo.
Okay, so let me just start from the beginning. So do you remember how you were first turned on, how you came to know the show? Can you remember back then?
No, that's the thing. Like, I honestly cannot remember not watching Friends. Like, I don't even know how old I was when it started. Do you know when it started?
94. So we were 14.
So I was a teenager. So,
maybe 95. I could be wrong. I want to say 94.
So I just remember like constantly watching it when it first came out. Like, I don't remember how it started with me, but I've always watched it.
So what was so appealing to the show for you?
Oh, there's so many things. How much time you got? Okay.
No, keep going. Go
okay. So I like that the characters all have their own personality and build, and you could do a show off of just any one of them, but putting all of them together, it just creates really cool dynamic stories. I like the humor with it, especially in the beginning. The later episodes and later seasons get more raunchier, I guess is the word for it, but the beginning ones are really just like kind of slap happy humor, which is really, really funny to me. I like the simple part of it. Like, you can watch an episode and not have to have seen the whole season, and it still can make sense to you for the most part, because it focuses on the story of that episode. And so it's just really simple, and you don't have to like think through it. It's easy humor. It's easy entertainment. I just love that part of it. I like the setting is like a little bit more real life. Like, sure, there are all these singles living together, but they deal with like jobs and relationships and family dynamics and things that are real life, but in a way that it pulls you away from having to deal with your own real life. Okay, I'll stop there. That's a lot.
No, that's perfect. You can keep going if you want to.
No, that's good.
Okay. That was perfectly said. Thank you. Yes, I think most people would probably agree those were the things that they loved about the show, and all of them became I guess people had like their favorites, right? So they could say, okay, I like this actor, I like this actress. In fact, Jennifer Aniston in particular was maybe the most popular one on the show, right?
Yeah, everyone had her haircut. Remember the Jennifer Aniston haircut?
Yeah. Very cool. So right before Allison and I got married in the summer of 2014, we got the opportunity to take the Warner Brothers studio tour here in Burbank, which was really fun. The main reason we had gone was for me, because I wanted to see the celebration thing that they had set up for Batman, celebrating his 75th anniversary. But as it turns out, besides showing you the Batman costumes and the Batman vehicles from all the movies and all the shows, they also did everything that been filmed on the Warner Brothers studio lot, including Friends. So it was pretty cool that we got to have our picture taken in the actual Central Perk, the exact same studio set that all 6 actors filmed on. And Gunther too. Yep, don't forget Gunther. And it was also interesting that the tour guide had told us that every single scene, with the exception of maybe a few like London scenes when Ross and Emma was the daughter. Emily, yeah. Thank you. Ross and Emily got married in England. They filmed a few things there, but almost the entire series, everything was filmed on that set, on that studio set in Burbank, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and it was like really detailed. Remember the set in the coffee house? Mm-hmm. Like super, super detailed. I didn't expect it to look like that. And the couch was really cool to sit on. Like, we actually got to sit on the couch and take our picture there. And it felt like, I don't know, it was a bucket list moment for me.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. And at the time, again, I didn't really understand appreciate, I guess maybe the best way of putting it, like how much it meant to Allison, and not just to Allison, but to so many people. So it was cool that, yes, we got to take a picture and see the set, and we'll definitely post that picture on social media to push this episode. But we got to binge watch the show together, and I had so much fun watching it with Allison. In fact, it's one of those shows that you could probably just, sit down and say, hey, is there anything on TV? No, let's put on, what's Friends? Let's watch whatever episode of Friends is on, or start from the very beginning and watch it that way.
Right? Probably. I do that. Like literally I have Friends on repeat all the time. Like if I have something I want to sit and watch, I have shows in between, but I pretty much watch Friends all the time for years. I just watch it till the end and then restart it again and just keep watching.
Very cool. Very cool. So the question I want to ask you now, sweetheart, is do you have an all-time favorite episode? And can you explain why it's your favorite episode?
Yeah, I mean, this is an easy question to answer, but my favorite one is it's called The One Where No One's Ready. And that's the one where, if you remember, Ross is getting some kind of award or something, and they all have to get ready to go to his ceremony, and nobody's ready in time, and Ross is freaking out. But it's hilarious because it's just basically filmed in Rachel and Monica's apartment. That's it. Like that's the whole thing. And it's just each character not being ready. Like how so simple is that? But it's so funny. And it has like Phoebe gets hummus on her dress, and so they have to cover up the hummus, and they're dealing with that. And Rachel's like throwing a fit because Ross treats her poorly, and so they're dealing with that. And just the way she laughs at it. Oh, and then Monica. I probably should say spoilers, huh? I don't know if anyone watches Friends.
Well, then I'm sure. Spoiler warning right now.
Okay, sorry, folks. Monica's fighting with Richard. Well, not fighting. They were separated. They weren't together, and yet she left a voicemail on his voicemail, trying to like be all breezy. She called it, which I love that word. Trying to get him back, and then she's not breezy, and it's super not cool. And then the best part, though, is with Chandler and Joey fighting over the chair in their apartment, and they like have to go, look at you laughing, it's so cute. They have to like go fight over that chair to get in it, and they start fighting by putting on each other's clothes, which doesn't make any sense, but it's so funny. And the best scene of entire Friends is when Joey comes out and he says, look at me, I'm Chandler, could I be wearing any more clothes? It's so funny.
And that's after he put on every single article of clothing that Chandler has in his closet, which is really funny.
It's so funny. And then he starts doing lunges in his clothes, talking about sweating down there. Oh, it's so funny. That's my favorite.
Okay, that's a funny one. I know you quote that often, all the time, saying that line. That's really cool. Really cool. My favorite episode is the Super Bowl episode, which is called the one after the Super Bowl. The episode itself has actually nothing at all to do with the Super Bowl, but it aired after Super Bowl 30 on January 28th, 1996. I have some notes here that I wanted to take down after Super Bowl 30, which if I remember correctly, I believe that was the Super Bowl that Steve Young and the 49ers won, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. 52.9 million viewers watched it, making it the highest rated episode of Friends ever, which is cool, throughout the entire run, and the highest rated TV show following the Super Bowl. So, all the big networks, when they host the Super Bowl, they want to put their popular show front and center, because you're going to have a huge, massive built-in audience from the Super Bowl. And Friends did better than any other TV show that's ever been on after the Super Bowl, which is pretty cool.
Of course it did.
The amount of guest stars that the show had were really cool. Brooke Shields, Chris Isaac, Julia Roberts, Jean-Claude Van Damme, who was the only guest star to ever play himself. Everybody else played a fictional character, but he played Jean-Claude Van Damme on the set. And also, just another fun fact too, or maybe just an interesting fact, the producers, I've read in an article, said that he was actually the most difficult celebrity guest star to deal with. I'm not sure why. Maybe very diva-esque, I guess.
That's interesting.
Fred Willard and Dan Castaneda also filled out the ranks for the celebrity guest stars. The whole prank that Julia Roberts' character plays on Chandler was really, really funny. And and then Ross gets reunited with his best buddy Marcel the monkey, which is really fun too. So I think that was my favorite episode. I know a lot of shows, they kind of go all out when they're following the Super Bowl. Like The Office did that too, really went all out with the humor. So I think Friends was no exception. Definitely, that would probably be my pick for favorite episode.
That's a good one. Good choice. We can stay married.
Okay, very good. And then, so speaking of the various guest stars, I mean, the show was well known for the amount of guest stars it had, right? So who are some of your favorite guest stars throughout the show's run?
Okay, so this is a tough one because I liked a lot of them, and this is also like super biased, but Brad Pitt was my favorite. because I've always liked Brad Pitt, but it also came to a point where he was on when he and Jennifer Aniston were married in real life. And so it was just kind of fun to see their dynamic acting against each other, because in the episode he plays someone who hates her. And so it's just funny to see like, oh wait, they're married in real life, but he's acting like he hates her. So I thought that was kind of funny how they did that, and a good take on it, because they could have done a number of things with him. And then they'd been waiting for a while to get him on the show too. So that was kind of cool when he finally did make it on. I also really liked Sean Penn's character. He played Phoebe's like stalker boyfriend kind of guy. And I just thought that he did a really good job acting, and it was really fun to see him in that kind of role. I liked the Julia Roberts one. Reese Witherspoon was cool. She played one of Rachel's sisters. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and she was really, really good in that. I mean, I could keep going on, but I had a lot of them. Your turn.
Okay, very cool. It's kind of interesting to see when you watch the show going back, because I mean, so I had seen the show years after it had been off the air, and a lot of these guest stars have actually gone on to become famous. And some of them were, really famous beforehand. Like, I want to say it's at the end of season 1 when Robin Williams and Billy Crystal make appearance together, like a really short cameo, but it was really funny in Central Perk. And they got like loud audience cheers because of who they are. But then you have someone like Jon Favreau, who wasn't as well known of a name. He played a guy that was super into Monica. And when he would appear, he did a few guest star appearances, but didn't actually get like the loud audience cheer. Because at the time, I think most people didn't know who he was. If they were to run it today, I'm sure he'd get a lot of cheers.
Right.
And then going back to the sisters, so interesting that Christina Applegate played Rachel's older sister, and she got loud cheers when she came on set, like when the audience saw her. But Reese Witherspoon, who's played Rachel's younger sister, did not, because she wasn't the big name either. This was actually before Legally Blonde. So what's kind of interesting is kind of see actors before they were famous appear on the show and thinking, hey, you're famous now, I know you. Like Craig Robertson, who played Daryl on The Office. He was also on Friends, as was Jim Rash, who played Dean Pelton, the Dean of Community on the show Community. And the Danny DeVito guest appearance is always funny. Danny DeVito always makes me laugh.
That was a funny one where he's a stripper.
So good times. Okay, so excluding favorite episodes, do you have like maybe just favorite storylines throughout the course of the show? Things that stick out to you?
Yeah, I mean, this is like total cliche, but of course I love the Ross and Rachel romance, and when they finally get together, and when they like, he has that like moment where he's on the phone listening to her voicemail, and she's left this voicemail saying, I'm over you. And he's like, when were you under me? Remember that? I love that. That's super cute. So I love their storyline. I love how they ended up together. I love the story of Monica and Chandler falling for each other. How cute that was. I love Joey's character just in like constantly eating, constantly picking about foods thing. Like Joey loves sandwiches. Like that's just funny stuff. Like the characters themselves just are the best. And so there's a lot of in the middle storylines that I really like. Most of them have to do with the romance.
Very cool.
How about you?
All the ones you said, really. I'm trying to think if there was another really memorable storyline. You know what? I mean, given our circumstances that we've had with infertility, it was kind of nice and very cool to see the episode or the storyline go on that Phoebe would offer to serve as a surrogate for her brother and Mrs. Foreman from That 70s Show, which is still really weird to me, but it was still a really nice, cool thing that she would do. And fun fact that Lisa Kudrow was actually pregnant. At the time. So they, instead of writing her off, they said, hey, let's incorporate into the storyline. And,
well, and then they had later on where Monica and Chandler couldn't have kids and had to adopt, right? So I think that it was really cool that they did incorporate a lot of issues that people deal with, and kind of before the times too, because surrogacy wasn't like really talked about back when Friends was really out. It was happening still, but it was more hush hush, and now it's all talked about. But back then they included it before it did.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
they were ahead of the time.
Good job.
Very cool. Good job, Friends.
Okay, so I have some fun facts about the show that I'd like to share with everybody now, and then of course, if you have anything prepared, sweetheart, please feel free to share too.
Okay.
So going back to the frozen in time concept. So there was a running joke going throughout a couple of years through the show that Ross would continue to proclaim himself being 29 years old.
Right? I didn't know that.
Oh, you know that?
No.
Okay. Over like the course of 3 different seasons, I guess. Like, I don't know how long it was, but I mean, it went on for more than a year. Obviously, you don't say 29 for just 1 year.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the person who wrote this article that I found online talking about these random fun facts about the show suspected that it might have appealed to the generation watching Friends, where individuals in their 20s just absolutely dreaded the concept of turning 30. And here we are, 30 plus change, right?
30 plus change. They did have that episode where they were all turning 30 and everyone was freaking out about it. So that's interesting.
Yeah. So apparently Ross was 29 for a couple of years throughout the show.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. This is one that I had caught when I was actually binge watching it with Allison for the first time. At the first episode of season 6, during that summer break, Courtney Cox had married her longtime boyfriend, David Arquette. Mm-hmm. And as a tribute to her, fun little tribute, everybody added Arquette to their name. Mm-hmm. So when it has the first credits of Jennifer Aniston, she added Jennifer Aniston Arquette, because Courtney Cox was actually using her stage name to be Courtney Cox Arquette, which is kind of old school and kind of cool that a lot of people, I think, because their name is their brand. Mm-hmm. So when they do get married, they kind of just keep their name the way it is and not change it like that. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty cool that I think she decided that she wanted to honor her husband and have his name. Right. It's too bad they did get divorced, but
yeah, it happens.
Yeah, but everybody added Arquette to their name. So Matthew Perry Arquette, David Schwimmer Arquette, Lisa Kudrow Arquette. You see where I'm going with that?
I can see that, yeah.
Okay. All 6 cast members campaigned to receive the same salary per episode, which is really cool. So I mean, everybody kind of thought that they had the same equal appeal, even though I guess Rachel was maybe the most popular character. Mm-hmm. Everybody fought with the producers for it, saying, hey, we should all get the exact same pay, that not one of us is more important than the other, which I thought was kind of cool thing.
Yeah, they really banded together. They got paid $1 million an episode or something.
I think towards the end of the run, they're getting really a ridiculous number.
That's crazy.
Yeah. The live studio audience was not present for cliffhanger scenes like Ross's wedding or when the father of Rachel's baby was disclosed, in order to keep it a secret. The internet was still kind of a new thing in the mid 2000s when the show debuted. I mean, the internet was there and chat rooms were there, but we didn't have social media. So again, spreading spoilers and things like that would have been really difficult back then versus the way it is today. But that being said, they still wanted to make an effort to make sure that spoilers weren't being used on or being disclosed. So certain scenes like that were filmed with no audience.
Yeah. Do you know what? I would kill to go back in time and be in the live audience for one of their episodes. I've always been so bummed that I never got to do that, or it never even occurred to me. It wasn't something that I really thought we could do. Mm-hmm. But now I'm oh my gosh, how cool would that have been?
Yeah, that would have been really cool, especially because we grew up here. I mean, everything's filmed here.
We totally could have gone.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Okay, this one I thought was kind of interesting. So apparently in real life, Courtney Cox is a hardcore neat freak, like her character, Rachel Geller. No, I'm sorry, Monica Geller. I apologize.
Monica. Yeah, I heard that she actually auditioned for the role of Rachel initially. Did you hear that?
I did, yeah.
And then felt like she fit more the Monica role, probably because that's more her personality in real life.
Mm-hmm. But I wonder that, I mean, do they, not just for Friends, but for any show, when certain characters have a defining trait, is that oftentimes just based on the character they have to play, or do they kind of incorporate that from the way the actor or actress is in real life? Say if Courtney Cox is a huge neat freak, okay, let's incorporate that into her character.
I don't know. I want to say that they probably had that planned ahead of time. Okay. But listen to this, though. Did you know that the David Schwimmer character was planned around him? Ross?
I did read that. That was one of my notes. Yeah.
Oh, I'm stealing your thunder.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
But I think that's super cool. When I watch the episodes now and I watch the show, I see his personality and I'm wow, that's really cool that they write around him. And what a compliment that they liked him enough that they did that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, and then also going back to your storyline you had followed the most closely, that of Ross and Rachel. They kind of teased that towards the end, one of the later seasons, that Rachel and Joey could have potentially gotten together, but I guess there was pretty bad fan backlash against that. And not only that, but also the cast and crew were very much against that too. So they had to talk to the producers, who probably would have had the final say. If they wanted to say, hey, no, we're doing it this way. It's going to be Rachel and Joey and just deal with it. But the producers saw the light and changed it to, I guess, the more popular way. But we could have been the other way.
Yeah, that's messed up. Like, it was cute to watch them flirt and do stuff for a little bit, but they don't belong together. Like, it's Ross and Rachel, and Joey's just different, and he's not supposed to be with Rachel. That's wrong. Wrong.
Okay. Courtney Cox was actually the most well-known of the six before they were cast, and the rest of them were really unknowns. I mean, I guess had done movies here and there. Like, it's actually kind of funny. I don't know why, but in high school, our English teacher had us just watching movies sometimes. And one time we watched the horror movie, The Leprechaun.
I've never heard of it.
You haven't heard? Okay, you're probably better off not hearing about it.
I don't want to hear about that.
Warwick Davis, who plays Wicket the Ewok from Star Wars, he plays the Leprechaun, who's like a murderous evil leprechaun. This was horrible. One of Jennifer Aniston's very first movies. So I definitely don't recommend it. But yeah, she may maybe prefer people don't know about that movie.
That sounds awful.
But yeah. But Courtney Cox had actually been really well known for being in the Bruce Springsteen movie, Dancing in the Dark, right? And she was also in a really bad 80s movies too, called The Masters of the Universe, based on the He-Man toy brand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that one's not very good. Okay.
Should I be worried that you've seen both of those? That's weird.
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, you're probably worried about a lot of things. So
yeah.
I'm just kidding. Okay.
Me too.
Ellen DeGeneres was actually a choice to play Phoebe.
I heard that.
Yeah, she actually turned it down.
Yeah, and I actually heard, like, as the show progressed, that one of the fan favorite characters was Lisa Kudrow, that she became like one of their favorites. So she did a really good job of stepping up into her role. With Smelly Cat. Smelly Cat.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. And then last one, this is actually one I came up with on my own. This wasn't found from the website I had researched, but it was one that I happened to catch when I was binge watching this with Allison. So in the second season, Monica takes a job working at the Moondance Diner. And I remember seeing the diner and I'm thinking, I've seen that diner before. Where have I seen that diner before? Oh, I know exactly where I've seen that diner before. Mary Jane Watson. So Kristen Dunst's character from the original Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire, directed by Sam Raimi, she works at exact same restaurant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently I guess it's a landmark in New York. So fans of the podcast who are listening, have you ever been to New York? If you've heard of the Moondance Diner or been there, please let me know. I very much would love to hear that. But again, going back to the earlier point that we had mentioned about the entire show being filmed in the Warner Brothers studio lot in Burbank, they only filmed exterior shots of the Moondance Diner. All the inside shots of where Monica was actually working were filmed on the studio set there.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, cool little tidbit that Mary Jane and Monica worked at the exact same diner in New York, which is kind of cool. Yeah,
we should go there someday. Bucket list item.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's all I had for tonight. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add about the show?
I mean, I could talk for hours, but okay. So I do want to know which character is your favorite and why.
I think I mentioned this to you before. I do love Phoebe. I think she was really funny. I think she had the funniest one-liners. She had a sarcastic style of humor about her. But actually Chandler had that too. But I think maybe Chandler sometimes was a little maybe over the top with his sarcasm.
He had a lot of sarcasm, but he jokes about that even.
Yeah, he does. He does. So Chandler would be a close second, but actually I would probably pick Phoebe as my favorite character.
That's interesting.
Yeah. How about you? I think I know, right?
Mine's Ross. Did I tell you that?
You did that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I just love his sense of humor. He's a little bit over the top too. I love that he has like the combo of like nerdy and cool at the same time. I just think he's a great character to build upon. Really like that one.
Very cool. Okay, so how about just for fun, let's play a little bit of a Friends trivia and see how well we remember the show when we binge watched it together. Okay,
I might be kind of embarrassed because you're better at remembering facts and details than I am, even though I've probably watched it way more than you.
Okay, well, we'll see how we do. Just for fun.
Okay. I'll ask a question first and we'll take turns answering. Okay. When betting their apartment, which question do Monica and Rachel get wrong to lose the place to Joey and Chandler?
Oh, I don't remember.
You don't remember? No. I totally remember this.
Okay, what is it?
It's what's Chandler's job.
Oh, but nobody knows, right? Isn't that the joke?
Yeah, that's the joke about it. Is that Rachel was like, he's a transponder or something like that. And there is no such thing. And they get it wrong because nobody knows the answer to it.
Well, he does something with marketing, right?
I'm not sure that they really ever say what he does.
Okay.
Which is the funny part.
Yeah, that is funny. That would go along the lines of the show, like where Ross is just 29 for 3 or 4 seasons.
Yes. Okay. Okay. What is the name of Ross's girlfriend whom Rachel encourages to shave her head at the beach in season 3?
Oh, I don't remember her name, but she's played by Christine Taylor, who's
Yes.
Ben Stiller's wife. Yeah,
Yes.
there's been a lot of comedies that I love, The Wedding Singer, stuff like that. So yeah, I know the actress, but I don't remember her name.
Yeah, it was Bonnie.
Bonnie, okay.
Which I don't know if I'd remember her name too.
Okay.
What is one of the names that were given to Frank and Alice's triplets that Phoebe gave birth to?
Oh, I don't remember this either. I'm sorry.
Remember when they had a Frank Jr.?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I love it.
Oh, it's funny.
Excuse me. What is Chandler's middle name?
Oh, I'm really bad at this. I don't know that either.
Muriel.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Yeah. No, you're not bad at this. There's just a lot of details.
Okay,
hold on. Do you know how many sisters Joey has?
2, right?
No, it's like 1 million.
Oh, that's right. I was mistaking her. Rachel. Rachel has 2. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
9.
Okay.
Yeah. 9. What does Chandler's crazy roommate Eddie do? Remember Eddie?
No, I don't remember Eddie.
I don't remember his name, but he's some kind of guest star too. But he watches Chandler sleep. Remember that?
Oh yeah. I can't remember that, but I don't remember the guest star. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's pretty good for now. One other thing I had a question on too. Can I ask one more question?
Sure, of course.
Just for your opinion.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the finale?
The finale. Oh, the finale was satisfying. Like we mentioned earlier with the fun facts about the show, that yes, the producers had teased the idea of potentially Joey and Rachel, but everyone wanted to see Rachel and Ross get together. So it was cool to have that happen. And I think it's an important part of the step of they're showing kids, essentially kids, but I mean, young adults, I guess you can think better way of saying it. Grow up in the big city, get their jobs, get married and start raising families. So I guess it was kind of fitting that, they Chandler and Monica move out of the apartment and, buy a house upstate and, have the place where they're ready to raise their family. So like I said, kind of makes sense that you eventually have to grow up and your life changes, but changes for the better. So it's kind of like a reflection almost of our own lives, like you kind of mentioned earlier in the show.
I did like how they had them each leave their key in the apartment and how everybody had a key. I thought that was really funny. Mm-hmm. I do wish that they'd ended in the coffee shop, because I feel like Central Perk was really where a lot of the show happened and was centered around. Mm-hmm. And they just kind of zoomed in on the door. Remember that door, little yellow frame thing?
Yeah.
But I wish that they just ended in the coffee shop. Like they did mention it when they were like, let's get coffee. Where? Remember that joke?
Oh yeah.
But I wish it ended there.
Mm-hmm. That would have been cool. That would have been cool. Does the frame have any significance? I know you used to have it as a keychain, right?
Yeah, I want one.
Okay. Was it just kind of there as a prop, or?
Yeah, it was just a prop that became popular. There were a couple props that became popular. That Etch a Sketch.
Oh yeah, that Joey and Chandler had. Yeah,
on their door, it had different pictures. If you pay attention to it, it had a different picture every single episode. So like that, the frame was just kind of a cool prop that people started liking. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And okay, one more question.
Yeah.
See, now you got me started.
Good. That's a good thing.
What'd you think of the reunion?
The reunion was fun. I mean, I know there were some criticisms of people saying that, we don't see why James Corden's chosen to be the host for this thing, since he really had nothing at all to do with the show. But I thought he did fine, and it was cool and fun to see all the people that I had no clue loved the show but did. Mm-hmm. David Beckham's a huge fan of the show, which I thought was really interesting. Mm-hmm. When the show started, he would have just been beginning his pro career playing in England, so that was kind of cool. I'm trying to think who else, a notable celebrity. There's quite a few on the show. I'm trying to think. Do you remember?
Well, I mean, the one thing about the reunion I didn't like is I wanted them to do a fast forward episode.
Oh, that's right.
Like a true episode. And they just sat around and talked about things, which was still cool. But I wanted to see, if you fast forwarded their lives, where would they be and what would they be like?
Emma would be a young adult. She would have graduated high school and been like in her 20s now, right? Early 20s.
Yeah, I wish they'd done something like that instead of just sit around talking. But the one thing I did really like about the sitting around talking, and it was cool to see all the little guests come too, but I really liked that Rachel and Ross ended up having feelings for each other. David Schwimmer, I should say their character, their real names. Jennifer Aniston and David Schwimmer. Did you catch that part?
Yeah.
Where they were like, yeah, we had a crush on each other, it just didn't work out. Like, hey, that's what every fan wanted, and we finally got to hear that it's true.
It was cool that they were able to get the actor who played Gunther to come on, because I know he'd been like really poor, bad health, and then he just died like last year.
Yeah.
So they were able to get him on before he passed, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But, I mean, it was cool to hear their stories and see their reactions to stuff too, but I wish they'd done like a real episode. Yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us for our conversation with friends. This was really fun. Allison came up with the idea of just talking about the show, and we know a lot of our friends really enjoy the show. So we kind of had the idea of potentially getting people to join us on a podcast. It may be difficult to arrange schedules to have people come on at various times whenever we decide to record. But if someone had interest in wanting to join in the conversation, weigh in, talk about your favorite things about the show, you could record a message for us and pass it to us so we can do another one of these episodes talking about Friends. As Allison mentioned, I mean, if we had more time and we're willing to talk about it more, she can go on for much longer. But
too long.
So if there's enough interest from my listener base for the podcast of people wanting to come on or record messages to talk about Friends, please let us know. I think it'd be really fun and kind of cool, unique thing to do for an episode of the Casting for Fun podcast. Well, I guess if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and sign off for tonight. But Allison, thank you for joining me on this episode and talking about Friends, and looking forward to having you on for many, many more episodes in the future, talking about things that we love.
At least to beat me.
Yeah.
Hi, Nick. I love you, but I have to beat you.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. You've been listening to the Casting for Fun podcast. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.